Hey guys, Ryan here, and today I just wanted to talk to you guys about basically one topic video. This isn't gonna be uh, too overly long, but I just wanted to talk about Jimmie Johnson and his career future because I was listening to the Dale Jr. download. Was it Tuesday? I think it was. I don't remember exactly what day it was because this whole week's just kind of blurred together for me. But for But yeah, and they had Jimmie Johnson on, and they were talking to him about his racing career and his racing future. And something I found quite interesting was kind of where he is. He said he wants to keep racing for sure, and he talked about his different potential options, such as going back to his roots with off-road racing. He also talked about going and doing some sports cars. I think were mentioned either that or that was another point for that he has done sports car racing in the past, so he could end up going back to sports cars. Um, then there's of then there's the IndyCar road races of which he said when he did the seat swap with Fernando Alonso that he wouldn't be doing IndyCar ovals because of the concerns from his wife and family. So completely understandable there on why he isn't going to be running the Indy 500. Now, of course, when it comes to road courses, though, they have had a much safer history in IndyCar racing, and when it comes down to it, I think he could probably go. I think that's probably the most likely option would be IndyCar road courses. Um, Maybe he goes and does a couple of smaller events with Casey Kane's dirt car team. I think it's a sprint car, if I'm remembering correctly, on Casey Kane's team. So in World of Outlaws, so that he could go and try that if he deems it safe enough. Yeah, I mean, there's just options all over the place for Jimmie Johnson, especially considering he's kind of now. I know people are gonna hate me saying this, but I think he's in the twilight of his career, at least NASCAR career. I mean, he's shown over the last 2.5, now getting on 3 years, that he's not quite where he was at in 2017. Now, of course, Jimmie could pull off an upset and win the 2020 championship before his current contract is up, but I think that is highly unlikely. So I think he's gonna stay. I think now, of course, he also talked about potential extensions because he's not necessarily out at um, Hendrick Motorsports after this year. He's just not. He just doesn't have a current deal worked out. Now, could he work out a deal? Probably. It's a pretty good assumption that it could work out. Um, but yeah, and actually on that podcast, he said adamantly that if Rick Hendrick came to him and it was 100% Jimmie's choice, he'd run for a few more seasons. And considering Junior Motorsports' lineup, I think that that's probably the smart move for Rick Hendrick to re-sign a veteran like Jimmie Johnson, unless he can get someone like Kurt Busch or basically a veteran who has had a bit better performance as of late. Because of course Jimmie has been. Now I think a lot of it's more mental for Jimmie Johnson than it is physical. Um, at least when it comes to NASCAR racing. So I think, and but with Rick Hendrick, I mean, he's got Gregson, Annette, and Allgaier for full timers at Junior Motorsports. Gregson, I think, needs 1 to 2 more years of Xfinity experience before he's ready for to be moved up to Cup. Annette and Allgaier, they've both been to the Cup Series and then went back to Xfinity. So, are they really gonna? Is Rick Hendrick really willing to bring one of those two back up and rebirth into the Cup Series? I don't know, but in the end, we've got a Rick Hendrick who really doesn't have a better option than Jimmie Johnson for like re-signing. Now, would Jimmie Johnson prefer to go for a full-time IndyCar season? Who knows? I mean, I'd have to talk to the guy to actually figure that one out. But I mean, I think he could get or not a full, but I think he could get a quote unquote full IndyCar season, at least on the road course side of things, and be able to and basically run all the road and street circuits. So like Laguna Seca, and Portland, he could run those types of races. And I actually think that there's actually an opportunity available for him if he wanted it. Now, of course, car number might not be the iconic one that he has, but I mean, depending on what the sponsorship's willing to do, I mean, he very well could. The sponsor that he has now, Ally, because that's another piece to the puzzle is with Rick Hendrick is that Jimmie Johnson does not have a confirmed sponsor. They don't have sponsorship lined up for next year. So if Gregson is more marketable to sponsors than Jimmie, yeah. But if he's able to find a sponsor that's willing to go with him, I wouldn't put it out of proportion that, especially with his ties to Chevrolet, that he could go and run for a team like Ed Carpenter Racing in the number 20/21 for the races that for the road and street circuits, which Ed Carpenter himself does not participate on. He only participates on the road or on the ovals, and I think maybe the Indy GP to get ready for the Indy 500. But other than that, I don't think Ed Carpenter races the road and street circuits that much. So could that be an option for Jimmie Johnson, especially with his Chevrolet ties and the fact that he wants to go IndyCar racing if he can find the sponsor to go with him? Or, I mean, I think that's probably the most likely option because I can't, and I'd love to see that as well. I think that would be very positive for both sports. I mean, it's kind of the same way that, I mean, IndyCar's been on the up and up ever since Fernando Alonso started trying to go and win the Indy 500. I feel like both IndyCar and even F1 have gone uphill from that. I mean, 24 hours of 24 hours of Daytona, the Rolex 24. I'm sure that had much increased ratings, and in particular, foreign ratings from Fernando. Now and I think, to be honest, NASCAR and IndyCar, they need to work together really to try and build both of our sports back up. Because after IndyCar had um, their whole split and remerge, they're still trying to recover from the split, and NASCAR is still trying to recover from, and actually all sports or all motorsports at least across the board seem to still be trying to recover from the market crash of 2008. But I think NASCAR's been the worst hit because that was also around the time when they brought in the car tomorrow and all that. That also hurt their prospects um, of being able to race or of having fans make it to the races, especially after they were after they are starting to kind of get people mad at them for the changes like the car tomorrow or the chase for the Sprint Cup. So all of that kind of put into perspective, I think Jimmie's gonna do 1 to 2 more years after his current contract is up in Cup. And then I could see him go to a team like Ed Carpenter. Now, of course, whether he gets the Ed Carpenter full deal, that I think completely depends on sponsorship. But I think that it's likely that he goes and at least runs some one-off races for something like Carlin Racing or even the McLaren team if they're willing to bring him in. Because who knows? Maybe while he was over there, talked to McLaren about the potential IndyCar schedule, and then even the fact that he was in a McLaren car. McLaren saw the times that he was able to put up on a track that he's never been to, um, and in a car that he's never driven before, a Formula One car, but still an open wheel car. So, yeah, just kind of wanted to talk a bit about this because I feel like it's a big enough issue that a lot of people are going to be interested in it. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, if you guys like the video, there's that like button down there. Subscribe as well if you're new. No, I try and do content like this basically whenever there's news. I know that the Cup race is tomorrow night. I'll probably have a video up Monday about it. Because it's a Sunday night race, but I will be watching it in full. Um, yeah, and then we've got but yeah, and then also if you guys want to support the channel, there are some um links down in the description for you to go and check out if you guys do want to support what I'm doing here. So, thank you guys all for watching, and I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. Have a great day. Bye.